My guest today is a team leader of one of the strongest team in Trackmania at the moment. They are newly found a new organization, and therefore I thought it would be interesting to hear from the leader himself. He was actually voted as a team leader of 2017 by the people of Trackmania. I welcome the leader of Venture. Hello, Arnie. How are you?
Hey man, I'm pretty fine. What about you?
I'm hyped to do this. I gave you a short introduction, but for people that are new to the scene and are not hardcore fans, can you tell them what do you do in the scene of Trackmania?
Sure, I can. First of all, it's for me a pleasure to be invited here on this podcast because I really like the format and also the past podcasts. And yeah, I'm Harni. I'm Filipinisch in real life, and I'm 18 years old, coming from Germany, and to be concrete, from Saxony. And yeah, as you already mentioned, I'm player and also the leader of Inventure.
Yeah.
And that's
And in
basically
the end of what story?
that's basically it.
There you have it. In the end of 2017, I read a post that Mysterious Monkeys were going to leave Trackmania after having a strong year, actually, and was actually nominated for Team of the Year. Can you give us an insight on why Mysterious Monkey decided to move out of Trackmania and what went through your head as a leader of the team?
Well, first of all, Mysterious Monkeys turned down many multi-gaming games, or squads of them. Like they closed the squads of Trackmania, of Rainbow Six, and also of CS. They wanted to focus completely on LOL, and that's also fine. And as I know, they are now not even anymore called Mysterious Monkeys. They are now Ad Hoc Gaming, and they really focus completely on LoL now.
Oh,
So
what went through
that's
your head as the team leader? Were you sort of surprised that they were going to leave you?
um I was not really surprised because they had difficulties with like sponsoring us. Um Especially like the last few offline tournaments we played for them, the support got less and less, and we also thought as a team that we might leave them if nothing changes. And then they basically came to us and said that they will turn down multi-gaming and focus completely on one game.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I was okay with it.
Yeah, so if they wouldn't have left you, you would sort of have left them because of the support got less and less.
Probably yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And not long into 2018, we read the happy news that you already found a new organization in Venture. How did that process work out? Did they reach to you, or did you reach out to them?
It's kind of a great story because Dachi and Mefix were attending at the LAN X at an offline event 2017, and they met the most of the venture guys already there. And so they knew already that there is a team venture. And when we were like applying for teams, the most of them were like, we are not gonna take Trackmania, especially no complete team, because Trackmania is not that popular in esports. And we ended up asking Venture if they would take a complete team. And they really did. They liked the idea, as they already knew Dachi and Mefix. And
Hmm.
so we joined them, and I'm really glad that we could join.
So the plan all along, or all the way, was to stay together as a group and find a new organization that supported the whole group.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Were there other organizations at play, or were they pretty easy to pick Venture?
It was pretty easy to pick Venture because they promised the most support for us. Like,
Yeah.
they supported Dachi, Mefix, and Veg to go to Gamers Assembly, but also to Game Winterfest. So it's really great what they do for us. We
Yeah,
can't really
and
complain about it.
you had already had some months under the wings of Venture. How would you say that the experience so far has been? As you mentioned, they have sent some of your players to offline events.
Yeah, well, my impression is that it is probably the best team or best organization that I have been to. Like, they care about us. They ask if we are fine and so on. They also talk with us on their main Discord. They really have that strong team feeling, that also comes across to our team. And they are always like open for another ideas of us, like for example, taking a dirt player and a canyon player to our team and to support them in some competitions, like at offline events or whatever. So it's really great, really great.
Yeah, we'll come back to the recruitments of the Canyon player and Dirt player later on. But first, when MyMo sort of left and the team was moving on to Venture, we saw some players not joining the movement and rather they joined Trackmania Heroes. Can you tell us why did sort of the team split up to two groups?
Yeah, first of all, MyMo was found by THE. It was like the first team that went to MyMo or to the organization. We always stay together as a big team, as a community on their TeamSpeak, and when we moved across to Venture, there was like the first little problem with Dexter because he was not that motivated and not that active, so that we in the end decided to kick him actually, at least for TMM. And he decided to go to THE, and also Moppel did the same like 2 or 3 weeks later. And because of that, we finally ended up parting ways with THE because of that reason probably, and also maybe because of some other smaller happenings. But Venture kind of felt a bit betrayed, to be honest.
Huh.
But
yeah, go on.
But I'd say like THE is a great team. It also has been one of my best decisions to join them. Like I have improved a lot there. I grew up as a player and also as a leader, and they have by far the best German community in the game. And I also enjoyed it a lot there to be on the TeamSpeak and so on. And I can understand Dexter and Moppel that they are with them.
What goes through your head as the person in charge of the lineup? Because you said that you kicked Dexter out of the team, and we know for a fact that Dexter is one of the best players out there. How hard was it? Was it for the team's best, or can you give us some reason behind it? Because he is, in fact, good enough to be in your team.
Yeah, sure, he is good enough. He is one of the best we ever had in the team, and I also know him for quite a long time now, and it definitely was hard to kick him. But there happened some things that weren't that nice of him, and so in the end I had like no choice. I talked with some others of Venture, and they had the same opinion, and unfortunately I had to do it.
Yeah,
Let's say
the
it
team
like
is
that.
bigger than all players.
Yep, indeed. It's like
And
always a team and not just one singer.
yeah, exactly. That's a good thought to have as a team leader, I guess.
Yep.
And you already played your first big tournament as Venture. You played second in the maybe the most prestigious team event in ESL CPS 19 after winning the two first sub matches against E-corp. In the end, you came kind of short in the final and lost 4-2. How would you describe the first tournament as a new team, and how did the grand final play out?
Well, first of all, I would not say that it feels like playing a competition or a team tournament as a new team, because we always have been together, and I don't know, we always have been that community, and we always have been that team. But of course, it was first of all a great feeling to be in the grand final. We never have been in the grand final of the ESL CPS before. So all in all, it was a great experience, although we lost in the end. But we had our moments. We could take the first two sub matches. It was a bit sad that we couldn't take another one to maybe secure the win, but that's the game.
And we already have the second team event going on at the moment, and it's in fact a big weekend coming up for Venture. You're gonna face up once again against E-corp, but this earlier stage of the tournament. How did you feel that this tournament has gone so far, and how did you think the match against E-corp will play out?
Okay, I think that the tournament started like a bit of a struggle for us, because we lost the first game against THE just when we started. And then we also lost to M&M because there was Gaming Winterfest on this weekend where quite some players were missing, like 4 of us. And so it didn't start that good, but in the end we still managed it to finish on the 5th position in our group. And of course our main focus is on the playoffs. And as you said, we will face E-corp now as the first really big opponent. Probably one of the biggest that you could face in such a tournament. We are looking forward to it. We are motivated and we are really trained already. So it's gonna be hopefully a great match. And
Yeah,
maybe we can win it this time.
I guess it's in a tournament like this, it's kind of hard to motivate to fully train against sort of lesser team or less experienced team with less good players. But when you know that you're going to face it up against a team like E-corp, I guess all players are going to train as much as they can, right?
Yeah, that's right. But I'd say this TMM season is a bit different because you already had to train in the group stage. There were like at least 6 maps in the group stage already, or 7 maps that had to be played. And you have to know these maps also in the playoffs. Like we are having a map pool consisting of 9 maps now. So it should not be easy to relax like in the group stage as well. You always have to be focused and maybe also to train the most. But of course, in the last weeks, we intensified our train and we got stronger and stronger. And I think we are on a good way now.
Oh, that's positive. A quick question: do you like the new sort of map pool or the system that Trackmania Masters use for this tournament, or are you in favor of the old system?
To be honest, I'm a fan of the old system because it was easier for the teams to train. Like there have been more maps, of course, but you could just like decide which weekend is like important or not that important. How much do you actually need to train? And this time it's actually really hard because you always need to train the map really, really good. And the tournament is also taking really, really long. Like we are already playing for most likely almost 2 months now.
Yeah.
So that's a difficult thing, to be honest.
Exactly, when you have at least offline events going on at the same time and
Yep.
solo players going on there. And we already briefly talked about Venture sending some players to Gaming Winterfest and Gamers Assembly, Wagenche, Dutchy, and Matix, I believe.
Yep.
How would you say that the performances from these 3 players has been at Gaming Winterfest and Gamers Assembly?
Let's start with the game Winterfest. It was
Sure.
like a great surprise that Dutchy finished on the 4th place there. It was really great. And for sure it was hard to keep up those expectations. So he finished in the end on the 9th position at Gamers Assembly. But in my opinion, that 9th position is almost the same worth like the 4th position because Gamers Assembly was a tournament that had such a high skill level. We have seen so many great players there, and yeah, I'd say that it's still a really nice rank to be on. The others like Mafix and Veg both finished like on 13th and 15th on Game Winterfest, and now at Gamers Assembly they finished at 17th and 25th place. It's I'd say an okay position to finish on because it was like more likely the first bigger events they attended, especially for Reg. And I think the more they will play on such events, they will improve. So all in all, it was a great offline event season so far.
Yeah. And as you said, Dutchy is maybe one of the most, or the player that has impressed me the most of these 2 offline events, like the first grand final at Gaming Winterfest. And also, he was pretty close to qualifying for the consolidation final, I believe, in Gamers Assembly.
Yep, that's right.
Almost, but Tween knocked him out at the final attempt.
He had the chance.
Yep.
But
so he's for sure a player to look after.
Yeah, sure, but he wasn't maybe also that trained like he was at Game Winterfest, and he's still finished at a such good position. He could challenge Tween, for example, who just lost the consolidation final in the end.
Yeah. And
So
in my
the level
sorry?
is really close.
Yeah. In my prediction show for this year in 2018, I predicted that, in fact, your player Vagenche would be the breakthrough driver of the year. I'm sure you, like me, has big hopes for him and many more. But besides Vagenche, Matix, and Dutchy, is there anybody we should have our eyes open for?
Of course, you should have a look at the whole team, I'd say. Like Race Hunts, for example, he returned to be active again in competitions with our team now. He's feeling great. And as well, there is Psychos who came back now for the playoffs, and maybe he will also stay longer. I'd really be happy about that if he would do that. He already has won the Easter hunting weekend.
Yep.
So that's maybe also something great for him because the first bigger thing that he won in TM2 Stadium, I believe, lately at least. Yeah, I'd say you should watch out for the whole team and
Yeah.
not for just one in particular. Of course, there's Dutchy and Vec, they are both really good players, but there are also some others that are really, really great.
Yeah, additions like Raisons and Psychos, I believe, is going to make your team even stronger. And you are, as the leader, maybe the person in charge of most of the recruitments. Can you tell us what do you look after before players join? And is there anybody out there you have your eyes on at the moment that you can tell us?
I'm always looking for active players normally. The thing with Raisons and Psychos has been a bit more special because we needed Raisons before TMM has started. Like, as we lost Moppel just before TMM started, we had to look for another player for a great addition that could help us during that hard group stage as we had Gamers Assembly and Game Winterfest. And it was great that Vec had a contact to Raisons to get him actually here. And with Psychos, it's another thing because he already was or has been a part of MyMo already. So we already knew him, and I'm glad that we could take him back for the playoffs. And another thing is, like, if I look for a player, it's always great to look for younger people or for people that are not that long into the game and are performing great. Like, I could use Kensley as an example. He
Yeah.
was a young player, he was really skilled. He still is very skilled, of course. He was in Q2 before, and I asked him if he maybe wants to join THE, and after one season he could join our main squad. So he did in the end. And I really like such things, to take a player that is maybe not that known, but that could really develop in a great way.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we are not looking for a player in particular.
But recently we have actually seen that Venture have recruited player outside of tech, like you mentioned that you have recruited players in Canyon and Dirt. Gugako, who was voted as the Canyon Player of the Year in 2017, and Fire, I believe, who plays second at Games Assembly in Dirt. Why do we see that Venture moves to other scene of the game? And are these two players just random joining, or do you actually have a plan behind it?
Yeah, right. They are not randomly picked. They are a plan of us, as we want to be, or Venture should be represented at all of Trackmania's environments, at least on the competitive environments. And therefore, we first decided to take Skugacho, a French player that is very talented, as you said, in Canyon, Player of the Year 2017. He has also been multiple times second in ESL Canyon CPS with his team. He also has many wins of the Smurf Cups. But he also finished like second this year at Gamers Assembly, and the Venture people saw him and we were interested in taking him, and we took him. And now he will be supported by us from now on for
Oh,
such tournaments. And the same was kind of the thing with Fire. He has already won Gamers Assembly before in 2016. Furthermore, he is already a Nations Cup champion, and he is one of the greatest Steward players around there, I'd say. He could even challenge Papu at Gamers Assembly.
Yeah, that match was insanely close, and he had actually a finalist attempt before Papu,
yeah,
and
right.
Papu faded.
Right. And the Venture people like that, and now we have a Dirt player and the Canyon player, and maybe there is more to come. I don't know. Might be not. I don't know. We will see in the future.
So just to make it clear, Skugako and Fire will only play Canyon and Dirt. They will not support you in tech events.
For now on, at least for the major tech events like TMM, ESL, or also some other cups, it's planned that they will not be part of the team. Maybe if there is some fun tech event like there was the TM Brawl or the ALM Cup in 2017. Those might be tournaments where they might be active for us as well.
Yeah, because we saw that the Dignitas back in the days recruited Paco from Canyon, and then he got more and more into the tech scene, and now he might be the best player we have in the game.
Yeah, that's true, and an interesting aspect, but we also should keep in mind that Skogacho is normally a player for THE in tech. He is currently playing for the second team of them in this TMM, and I already don't want to take him away from that community as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wouldn't be a great move towards them.
During the Trackmania Awards 2017, which we have talked about kind of much during this podcast, the people voted you as the team leader of the year. I said multiple times that this is a hard category to compare the team leaders against each other. Can you sort of take us behind the scenes and tell us what you actually do in Trackmania and what is your job as a team leader, and how did it feel to see that people actually voted you as the team leader of the year?
Yeah, it's of course a great thing to be team leader of the year in 2017. It's an achievement, of course. But there have also been many other leaders that have been doing a great job out there, and as you said, it's a hard category. You can't really compare the work of leaders with each other just by maybe some success or achievements that they have over the year. So yeah, it's a hard category and probably also a hard one to choose. Still glad to be the leader of the year, but yeah. And my task all in all is to, of course, keep the squad together, to communicate with the boss of our organization, with Percival. Of course, also to talk with our players if they are feeling good in the team, if there are maybe some problems that we should discuss. And if there is a problem, we always should discuss it, of course, and should find solutions. And that is one of the main tasks, I'd say. And also like lineup planning for tournaments. Like there is the knockout team tournament around one month ongoing, and you have to plan that as well and register the lineups. And yeah, that's my job, I'd say, as a leader.
Yeah.
What else do I do? Maybe just create the specific lineups on the maps that we are playing. For example, we always build up our lineups before matches so that players know on which map they should focus, and yeah, that's also a thing that I do.
But I know that the motivations lack from sort of period in Trackmania. What do you do if you have too many unmotivated players and might have a problem getting a lineup together? And also, what do you do when you have too many motivated players, so you actually have to pick someone who can't play the match?
That's a really good question. Like we had really many players at Team Open last year. We made 2 teams for that, as the team size was limited to 7 players, I think. So we had 2 teams that were normally balanced. We tried to split them into 2 equal teams. And from now on, For example, in the ESL CPS, we had only 2 players that were not that motivated. They just became inactive for that tournament, and for example, Scary is now back on the track, as you can see, and he's a great help in the TMM season. So it always depends on the tournament. If a player is saying that he is not that motivated, you can't do that much. You can't force them to play. You have to accept it and to adapt to it. But I'm a bit lucky that we are having quite a few players in our team that from that we can choose our lineup.
Yeah.
If there are some unmotivated players.
And you're not only a team leader, you're also a player yourself. Can you tell us what are your own goal as a player?
My own goals, let's take a usual week of training. Like in TMM, there is one map per week released, and my goal is usually to be in the DD records, so that I feel prepared on it, that I feel confident on it. Of course, also to play a bit more rounds on it, that I finish all the time or more rounds after each other, that I finish in a good way. That is important to me to feel confident for the match, as the average or the regu is the most important. And I also like it to do some little training cups, cup modes, where all the players are training with me. And that's also something that really helps me to stay focused on the game and also to stay in a good shape, I'd say.
Yeah. There is a match I need to talk to you about. It was in 2017 nominated for Match of the Year. It was against Expert Orange. What do you remember from that match, and how would you describe that match?
That match has been one of the greatest in my mind because it was like the first really big victory over a great team that I have experienced in my TM career, not just as a leader but as a player.
Yeah.
It was such a close one. We ended up on the last deciding map in the tennis mode, and it was so intense. And it just felt so great afterwards that we could say that we actually won it and that we actually secured us a place in the top 4 with it. That was
Yeah, I
really great.
remember a stream from Koons. He kind of rage quitted that stream after losing against you, I believe.
Yeah, I can like understand that. Like if I would be streaming a match and I would be losing such an important match, maybe also if I thought that we could easily win it or we should be the favorites to win it, or like the goal is to be normally in the final. That was the goal of Koons or Expert Orange, I'd say. Of course, I'd be also disappointed after such a thing. And I probably would also rage quit afterwards, at least streaming, and I don't know, but not for long. It's just a game.
Yeah.
And
It's good to show passion.
yeah, it's good to show passion, that's right.
I go a little back and forth here, but talking about great matches and streaming, you were caster at Gamers Assembly not too long ago. Most of the matches you casted were in German, if I remember correctly.
Not
even
actually true. That's not true.
correct. English?
No, actually, I started streaming to the event in English because Nelky wasn't there in the beginning.
Yeah, okay.
So I had to stream TA in English, and that was like the first time I really casted something in English or something really big, and the viewership was also like the highest that I ever had. So that was a great thing. I didn't really struggle that much, I'd say, at least not with the language. I was kind of happy after that day because I streamed, I don't know, probably 6 matches or something like that in English, and only the last match of the day in German. And it was like hard to switch over to the German language after talking one day English straight.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But casting so many matches, is there any sort of match you want to highlight from the event? What was the funniest match to cast?
Funniest match to cast? Funniest match? I don't know. To be honest, I really like close matches. I really like them when there is some pressure on the players, when they are close to be finalists altogether. And I think that was the case in many matches of spam on day one. I really enjoyed casting those matches because they were really close. In particular, I don't really have a favorite match because I just really enjoyed streaming all those matches, and it was a great experience for me to do it.
Is it safe to say that we will see you continue casting?
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. Like maybe talking about TM Pro League, I was a player of it, but I streamed also quite some matches in German there already, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoy casting matches. So if I'm able to, I would really like to stream such matches again. Also, like cast of offline events that are really fun.
Yeah. And as you said, you are looking for events to cast. Last year we saw many new events coming up. What events do you look most forward to this year as a player, and what events do you sort of hope pops up and gets created?
There is an event that I probably can't really talk about yet because it's still a bit secret.
Ooh.
So you might hear something about it in the upcoming month, I'd say. But another event that I really look forward to is, of course, Team Open, because I'm involved into it, because I was like one of the founding members of it, and they are searching for sponsors currently. And I think if they will continue working as hard as they do now, they will find some, and they will also have a cash prize for it. Might be the biggest team tournament in the year, maybe.
Oh. So we have a potential announcement in some months and potentially the biggest tournament coming as well.
At least, of course, what is connected with Team Open. Like, okay. There is no doubt that they will host a team tournament again, as the last one went great. But it's actually not the secret thing I meant, because there is something that is also really, really interesting and might attract many players.
My question of the week on Twitter this week was if you could pick one Trackmania event hosted in the past, which one would you bring back? Do you have any strong opinions here? ESWC, World Cyber Games, DreamHack, and so on.
Yeah, I saw that vote, and I actually thought that you forgot to mention the Mania Planet World Cup, and it was hosted by Nadio. But I think probably not that many would have voted for it. Yeah, I'd really like to see ESWC back as there where the champions crowned. And yeah, that would be my favorite event, to see it back on the stage also, to see the champion crowned
if
there.
If it get hosted, will you attend as a player?
I'm probably not that good that I could participate there as a solo player, but maybe in the future, if I was invited, I would for sure go there.
But would you go there as a spectator to support your team? If
as a spectator, it depends. If I have like enough free time and enough money for it, then I would probably do it. If there are more than just one player invited of our team.
Before we close the show for today, I know from speaking with you that you are a fan of Dart. If I could quickly ask you, do you think the experiences from Trackmania could help you in the sport of darts? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm planning to attend at a darts event in the near future, and I think it could definitely help, like pressure-wise, that you don't have that much pressure in a match, because I experienced that pressure already, like when I was playing a 1v1 or also normal team matches back in the days when I started to compete in 2014. The first TMM season was like playing under pressure because I was not used to it. And now I'm way more relaxed and more calm. Like, also being in Team Q has helped for that. As I stayed there for 1.5 years, and I really improved there as well. the pressure and the matches got easier and easier for me.
So it's safe to say that Trackmania also helps you in your real life and other parts of your life.
Yeah, a bit at least.
That's it for my questions. Is there something I forgot to ask you about, or something you want to share with the people of Trackmania?
Maybe, as I just mentioned, that I have been in Q as a player and that I stayed there for 1.5 years, and that Q is also still one of my favorite teams in Trackmania and also one of the favorites that I've been in. They also have a great community, and it was also a pleasure to play for them, for example.
Yeah,
In
I
the
feel
end,
like Team Q is one of the best teams for recruiting new people and young players because
yeah,
it
you
seems
should
like
be
they're so active.
you should be careful. Like, I don't really like it to recruit people from teams that I have been in because it's also a bit, I don't know, it's maybe a bit unfair or not that great to take players of such a team that you really know already the best, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Wouldn't
it's
wouldn't
destroying the
make me
team.
feel great, yeah.
Yeah,
But all in all, maybe a message to the players that are still playing, maybe that are also not that good yet. They should just continue training. They should stay active, and they can definitely reach far with a lot of training.
yeah,
Like
that's a
it's
positive message we have there.
yeah, it is. It always has been hard in the beginning, but it really gets better and better. I can tell that on my own as well, on my own experience.
So I should never have stopped training because I did never get better, so I just completely stopped.
No, you shouldn't have stopped.
Maybe time for a comeback.
Yeah, true. Might do that.
Yeah,
Because
but
tournaments and competitions are always fun,
yeah, that's for
especially with a
sure.
team.
Maybe I come back for a TTC once in a while.
Sure.
But yeah, it's really fun having you as a guest. Maybe one day we'll get back to you because I believe you will have a big part in the Trackmania as you are leader of one of the strongest team and that you actually host events as well. Thank you so much for stepping up, Harni. It's been a pleasure.
It's also been a pleasure for me to be here. Thanks for that opportunity, and yeah.
Bye bye.